and do my usual. Good evening, everybody. If you're just tuning in, thanks for hanging in there with live radio. Sometimes we are a few minutes behind. You're listening to the Angel Rock on United Public Radio Network. I'm your host, Laura Lee Potvin. If you've never been to the show before, welcome. And if you're returning, one of our usual that tune in, thank you so much. A little bit about the show and then about myself. The Angel Rock I feature all aspects, I say, of the supernatural, anything from the paranormal, UFOs, ETs. I also talk sometimes about the strange and unusual. I hate the word conspiracy theory. I prefer truth seeking. And then we get into sort of more of my real realm of field of work. I'm a light worker. So we talk sometimes about the power of the mind, healing, energy work, which we're going to be dealing with tonight. A little bit about myself, even though we're broadcasting to you live from New Orleans, Louisiana, I am in Canada. I'm a psychic medium. I'm also a crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner. I'm a spiritual teacher and mentor, and I'm also a nurse. Now tonight, let me grab their bios, guys, and I apologize for being late. We almost weren't able to play these tunes tonight, or tones, I should say tones, because they're very special. It's a premiere tonight. And thank God for Joe Montaldo. I want to give him a shout out. He is the owner of UPRN, and he produces all of us. He makes my job very easy. I just get to sit back and talk, which is very nice. So I don't know how he does what he does. He also hosts all the shows. But tonight I have a very good friend of mine here. I also have a new friend. The good friend is Debbie A. Anderson. I'm going to pull up her bio. I planned on doing all this. I have Claudio's, but of course, like I said, I just about had a panic here because that's why we were doing our show tonight, was to play all this. And it does, you know what, I'm going to disappear for a minute. I have it on the phone I'm broadcasting from, and it's so much easier to find stuff. So give me a second here. That's what we get with live radio. While you guys are waiting for me to find Debbie's bio very quickly, I do want to let you know, if you're probably listening on many different venues, head over to the UFO Paranormal Radio YouTube channel. We can see the chat and we can interact with you. And if you've got questions or comments, and we love that, we'd like to involve you and make you part of the show. So Debbie A. Anderson sent me a beautiful bio that says, I see dead people. Yes, that is how Debbie A. Anderson introduces herself. From a young age, she had the ability to connect and see spirit. For over 35 years, she has united people with loved ones who have crossed over to say hi, get closure, or maybe find that missing will. She raises a vibration and shares the positive using the oracle and affirmation decks she has published, teaching others how to shift their energy to tap into the self in a focused and balanced way. So now we're going to head over to Claudio, and Claudio and I have talked. Debbie connected me with him. He has a great YouTube channel, and this is Claudio's bio. His name is Claudio Silvaggi. I hope I said that right, Claudio. Yep. He's a husband, brother, son, father, grandfather, uncle, friend who studies the philosophia, the way he wrote it, of physics, which equals metaphysics. This encompasses the spiritual aspects of the Phoenix rising, and I love the Phoenix, which is upon us, and its associated astrologos, sound / vibrations, weather phenomenon, both external and internal, and then you've got in brackets medical. So we're going to talk about these things. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Yeah,
I'm going to keep an eye on
here's the thing: everything has been. I don't know whether it's Monday or whether it's because of the blue moon or whatever it is, but there's been a lot of discombobulation, and I use that word because I don't like to say negative energies or things like that, because we're just surrounded by energy, aren't we, Claudio? It's just that sort of energy is everything we are. So it doesn't surprise me if things are working, not working, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, let me just say hi to everybody in the chat there. I like to do that, guys, to involve them. You'll be able to see it with being on StreamYard. If you, I think there's a button at the bottom that says chat. If you hit comments, because we're streaming all over the place, from 5 Facebook pages to Twitch to YouTube. So we've got Carol Sloan says hello. Shady D says hello all. And Carol Sloan says, discombobulated folks tonight? No, we're not discombobulated. It's just, I think what Debbie was saying, and we've been noticing this, lot of people, the energy seems to really be shifting, not even so much positive, but I think some things that may seem kind of terrible in the beginning are shifting to make way for new things. And I'd love to hear what Claudio's thoughts are on that too. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're all feeling something, right? The whole world is, and it's all in the stars. So currently right now we have 9 planets in retrograde. Uranus just went retrograde in our head, right? Yeah. Aries. So with 9 planets in retrograde, that totally lines up with lockdowns and, everything. You're going to get all kinds, people are going to, depending on your chart, of course, you're going to get all kinds of restrictions and basically part of the cleanse that everybody's feeling to let go of materialistic things. We really have to, we really are going into the age of Aquarius. I mean, this is truth.
Yes.
And in order to get to the age of Aquarius, we must go through the 7 scorpions of Isis. In other words, cleansing our 7 chakras.
Love it.
And with that comes all kinds of dis-ease, right? So with 9 planets in retrograde, that grabs a lot of charts. So you're going to see a lot of people just, I mean, even in some cases with us, no matter where we turn, it's like, no, you're not doing this. No, you're not doing that. No, you're not going to have that. No.
I know
Computers
from my
won't work, deliveries won't make it, your car won't start. You want to turn right, you can only turn left. It's
yeah. And I think especially at the moment, it's a time where me personally, I've had to create boundaries with people. Okay, because I got involved in something which was to help somebody, and now it's not working out, and they feel that I should go and sort it out, and I'm like, no, you guys need to sort it out yourself. I'm stepping back. This is not my, not my circus, not my monkeys. And I think that's where a lot of us are getting, for me, there's been lots going on, and I know for all of you as well that it's pulling us in all different directions. So
I think it's important though, and it was so nice. I'm so glad. I had never met you before, Claudio, and then you sent me your write-up on your YouTube channel. Debbie, I know you so well. I'm not going to leave you on. I know many people that are watching.
That's okay. It's not about me.
No, it's about everybody here that's tuning in. And I think what's important is, I think there was an important point brought up about learning to let go of the material. Now, for myself personally, I have to say that I had that rude awakening 2 years ago. Claudia, you may not know this, but I know Debbie does. I lived through extreme paranormal activity for the last 11 years and really didn't have an opportunity to get out of that house. But I lost everything and had 12 hours. It was supposed to be 72, but I got 12 hours to leave, basically empty a house, 25 years worth of stuff. But you know what? I really prioritized what I could take. And the other thing was, I really got the awakening that it's all just stuff.
I know.
No, but I think what it is, right, we hang on dearly to so many things. And this is really about, and the things we're going to talk about, shifting your energy, raising your vibration, what that really means, and realizing, I think, what inner peace, happiness, and the way to healing is. And it doesn't necessarily rely on another person. This has to come from within.
It comes from within all the time. And as you both know, I'm selling up everything in Canada, my condo, all the stuff in it, and we're staying in Mexico for now. And I've had these major shifts in my life where I've walked away from everything, then restarted again, walked away and restarted. And it's funny because it's the friends, acquaintances, and people that know me that are getting upset. How can you walk away from all your beautiful stuff? What about all your crystals and, all of this? And I'm like, actually, I feel extremely free. I'm not attached to anything. Even when I saw the realtor doing that little walkthrough, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. And at that point, it was a case of, I don't need anything. There's a few items which have sentimental value, but beyond that, people are just like, how can you let this go? And in fact, the friend that's helping me, she said, what is it? People come in here and they want a piece of you. I'm like, okay. She said they'll want a mug out of your cupboard, or like the something that belongs to you so they can take it home to have as you. And I said, well, I'm starting to feel like Marilyn Monroe now because they all want to take something home, which is strange. But again, that's where we as humans have these attachments. We feel we need the stuff, we need the things, or we need the memory. Like my dad died some years ago and he's always in my heart. There's a couple of items that he gave me that I will keep, and then the rest of it, everything else is going. So it's been very freeing for me. And anybody that knows me knows all the stuff I had. And now I don't, so it's very much.
You said something important there, Debbie. You said you realize that because you've been through that a couple of times. I learned that lesson myself, I believe. What about yourself, Claudio? Are you finding that what other things are you finding as well, astrologically, even like you're explaining the energies, that is this a thing that people are going through into that higher level of 5D with the ascension that we hope most of the human race, we know most probably aren't going, but there will be some that are. Are you finding that that's part of the cleansing process? Or
yeah, absolutely, 100%. Not only to let go of materialistic things as far as tangible things, but realizing that this is material. This body, we are not what we see in the mirror. We got to realize that we are spirits in this body. So when you follow what's written on the Egyptian walls, it's not about your life after death. What's written on the Egyptian walls is this period of time that we wrote for ourselves to remember. This all the messages that we left there on the Egyptian walls was from us, for us. We're supposed to leave this body. We're supposed to let go of this body, understand this body is just a vessel, right? This is the boat that's carrying our soul through this experience, this materialist experience. So it doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter anything. It's just about that knowledge, and that knowledge is love, and it is pure wisdom, and it is pure knowledge. And when you grasp that and start connecting with everything, then you're golden, right? So yeah, I mean, it all is part of it. I know people like talking about going outwards, 3D, 5D, and all that stuff, but it really is inward.
Inwards.
It's really there's only really to make it real simple for people. I understand the different dimensions and stuff like that, but to make it real simple for people, there's two dimensions: out in manifest, and in unmanifest.
I
mentioned
that because I know a lot of the people that are listening would connect with that message, and I get that.
I get that.
Because I think that that's important, and I like both of you are in agreement with that, and I think that that's so important, because I didn't even like the way that sounded as it came out, and I mean that when I was saying some of us will be going, some of us won't. That's not really what it is.
No.
You're hearing it's creating more division. I'm actually glad. I'm getting goosebumps. I always say that's my sign for truth, but it's not cold here. But what it is I haven't liked that discussion and narrative that I've been seeing. It's like we're better than them. We're going onwards, and that's not true. So I love that you guys are talking the way you are. It's inwards and outwards, because even when I started this about the happiness, because so many people will think, well, once I lose that 10 pounds, once I get that dream job, once I do this, I'm going to be no, it all comes from within, right?
And the thing that I love is when people say to me, I'm in 5D consciousness, or I'm in this, I've ascended to this, and I just listen, and I'm like, well, I know I'm not there, because if I was, I wouldn't need to talk about it.
I wouldn't be having this conversation.
I wouldn't be having this conversation. So when people do that, it's for their own reasons. It's I'm not in judgment at all. They do it for their own reasons, because I think we have this conditioning, as you say, lose the 5 pounds, have this kind of home, do that, or have this or whatever, and then we're accepted as part of the team or part of the gang. And I think this is where I feel it's like, okay, so this is going on over here and this is going on over there. I can hop over there and enjoy that if I want to, and I can hop over here and enjoy that if I want to, or I can just stay where I am. It doesn't really matter. And I think this is where we need to step into our own awareness of it is all about us. Like me, it's the I definitely in me, because I am responsible for me. I am the person that makes those actions, reactions, observations, or whatever it is, that's me. Am I responsible for anybody else? No. I'm not. And yes, if you have a little baby or somebody that needs you in that way, that is a task that you have chosen to do. But beyond that, no, you're not responsible for anybody or their actions.
The biggest wake-up call for me when I started along this path was I had a mentor that used to say to me, what other people think of you or myself is none of our business. Yeah. And at first I used to think, what is my business? And then I realized as I started, learning more and understanding that it's not. It really isn't. And again, I don't even know how you guys have said it so beautifully that it really is about the inside, right? Or I'm going to go back to this. It's just sitting with me, Claudio, and I love what you said there. I'm loving out this whole conversation. But the thing is, you said as Egyptians, we left those messages for our future selves. Can you go a little further with that?
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yes, please.
So sorry, we'll go a little bit further on which part? I'm sorry.
Okay, so break that down for us a little bit, because there's going to be people that are listening that maybe have never heard this type of conversation we're going to be talking about. Don't worry, right, Debbie, because we're going to be getting all into how did you get these tones.
It's going to all roll in anyway.
It all rolls in. I love it when it's organic because you know there is no structure. Structure only comes about because we feel there has to be structure. Whereas when something like this happens, it just melts.
That's how I do my
shows. That's it.
I always say, Spirit, where are we going? Where are we going tonight? And Spirit takes it. But for people that have never heard that concept is what I'm talking about. Like you said, as the writings on the wall in Egypt, I'm not saying it as eloquently, were messages left by our past selves, I guess, for ourselves in the future. What would that look like, or what does that mean for somebody who's never heard that before?
Well, just the first thing I say to people is that it makes you feel really good and more relaxed and more patient when you realize that you're infinite.
Yes.
And right. So when you study metaphysics in the right way, you learn that it's impossible to be any other way. We can only be infinite. Mm-hmm. There'd be no existence when you do what's called a Platonic logic. Right? Mm-hmm. It's logically broken down so that it can't be any other way. It just works that way. Mm-hmm. So studying physics equal metaphysics through Ken Wheeler, he's an amazing dude, man. He's just he's incredibly smart. It's invigorating to know that the all, which is represented by a zero, which is the same as the point, thing or no thing, that's pure potential, pure inertia, ether, God, whatever you want to call it. God is a whole other discussion because that's a glyph of who we are. We are gods. G-O-D is a yin yang. Yeah. Okay. So, but we are infinite. Mm-hmm. We have the infinite dyings on the cross. We are the Horus. We are the Jesus. We are the Christ. We are the one keep spinning around that zodiac until we learn and get this experience. So this is all pre-planned for us. This is just an experience where we have to learn to go back to one love. Can't be any other way. Mm-hmm. So, and what we're upon right now is the Phoenix rising. It happens in the sky. It happens exactly 203,813 Julian days. You can map it out, grab an app, you can see it. The mother Eris, which is Isis, rises with the sun, 0 point Aries in the east every 558 years. And every 4 times make a zodiac. That's why some people are touting it's the 6th sun for the Mayan calendar. Nobody will show you how to read it. They'll just say it's a 6th. Well, we're going to make videos on it. So we've got all the proof. And there's no opinion. It's just all fact. And it just shows you that we're upon the 5th sun, which brings us into the age of Aquarius. So that one love of the mother coming back to save every one of us, every single one of us. That's why she's called the Lady of Discord and Strife, because we're all going to go through this cleansing process. Because let's face it, our seven chakras are not pure. They're not. If they were pure, we wouldn't be here. We'd be back in spirit, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So we did predict in October 2019 and published a video in December of 2019 that everybody's going to go through Corona chakra. We got the faces showing different things happening, and lo and behold, then this corona other thing comes out, and then they call it COVID, which is the exact same meaning. But that cleanse is upon us. It's biblical. The Bible is nothing more than a slightly misinterpreted dendra zodiac. Okay, the glyphs there that depicts everything exactly what's happening to us. We left that message for us, the breadcrumbs. So I hope I'm kind of circling around getting to the answer, but it all teaches us back to one love, that point in the middle, pure inertia, unmanifest. In order to get there, understanding that, knowing that, feeling good about it, and then it only becomes what you let in your mind. Because in order to be pure inertia, there can't be thoughts in there that aren't pure. It just can't work that way. So law of attraction is going to play faster and more powerful every single day until the Phoenix Rising, which is April 15th,
I'm
2023.
noticing that. I am noticing that, and people around me, like one of my really close friends, you've heard me mention her before, Debbie, Leanne, and this is her little game we play, and it's not competition or anything. It's just to celebrate something that we've been able to manifest, and it seems to be happening faster and faster and faster.
Yes.
So
Right.
I love that.
So Debbie gets these vibrations, right? So you can get into it, and
my mind, 'cause we
they're
were just
amazing.
going
I mean, for her to get those download of those numbers, and those numbers are amazing. I mean, they lie on the circle of 60 repeating numbers that wrap around and make the swastika on the circle on the zodiac. I mean, that's where the true meaning of the swastika is. It's about numerology and how the whole walk path is of our life. So for her to have those numbers shown to her, there's something special there.
Debbie
Right.
is mind-blowing. I've been working with Debbie and another very good friend of hers who's very talented.
Yeah.
And some of the things that Debbie gets that we have no idea what it is, but when we research it, it's like, oh my God, mind blown. So
Right.
that's why we're here tonight. So Debbie, this is your turn. Well, both of you, I know you'll feed off, but where did this come from for our people? Why we're playing it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, let me just step back to 2012, because it was around about early 2012 that I was shared through meditation and so forth that there were actually 8 solfeggio frequencies. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this. I don't know. So this is me. This is when I, Spirit go, just shut up and listen. So I meditated and listened. And after getting the completion of the information, it was around about June. So early, to June 2012. And I really didn't know what I was supposed to do to actualize them. And this is something that happens a lot in my world, as you know. I'll start something, I'll get information, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with it? Sometimes I'm supposed to share it with everyone, and other times I'm just supposed to shelve it until.
I call that the proverbial back shelf.
Yeah. So I put things away. Well, then, this is my world, Lauralee. I just sort of have to accept it. I used to get really tied up in why am I getting this information? Now I just go, okay, I'll shelve it. Just remind me where I shelved it, please.
Yeah.
So, so last year I was blessed to connect with Claudio. And, again, it was after speaking to a friend to sort of say, I've got these frequencies, I've got these numbers, what I've been given, but I have no way. I'm not a musician. I'm not anybody that knows even what they would sound like. If somebody did them in my ear, I wouldn't know, kind of thing. And she said, oh, you need to speak to Claudio. And that's when we started speaking last year. And it was around about August time last year. And I was going, we've got to get this done. We've got to get it done. It needs to get out. It needs to get out.
Because I was in a panic.
Yeah, I was in that sort of panic of it had to be August. And I thought it was 2020 because obviously everything came down and happened really quite quickly. And I'm like, okay, I've been told to activate it, but then we worked on it and it was almost like time stood still for us again. I'm like, okay. So Claudio was working with them, and then it was like, okay, it's not supposed to happen then. All right, okay. And then it wasn't until about a month ago when I heard, okay, you need to share now. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much for the lead.
And they gave you a date.
Yeah, August the 25th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I still don't understand where that comes in. So I'm open to anybody, if anybody has any ideas or thoughts or interest. As I said, I know the blue moon came in on like the 22nd, 23rd. So we've gone through that transition. But I was just told the 25th of August is an integral time. And these frequencies need to be heard at this point in time because they will assist us. Mm-hmm. And this year, every year I sit down and I get what I call predictions from Spirit for the year. And then I share them with everybody. And what I was told the insights for this year was bringing us into beingness. Bringing us into beingness. Now, when you think of all the chaos and carnage and everything is like swirling around like a tornado outside of us, how are we supposed to get into our beingness? And then everything just starts to fall into place. So when we come into beingness, we create the complete balance, as Claudio is saying, inside. We complete the balance of Earth universally, inside and outside. So I'll let you pick up from there, Claudio, because this is where I get the information, and I'm like, okay.
I'm going to pause you for 1 sec, guys, because I want to add something. We've got quite a few comments, but I do want to welcome. I've never had this person here before. They're from the Ukraine.
Oh, welcome.
Sacred son of the Ukraine. And they were, when you were talking about the swastika, Claudio, I said it could be he or she. The oldest swastika is found in the land currently not called as the Ukraine. I don't know if that correlates with the information you have, but it was an interesting comment. There's all kinds, if you guys are in YouTube and you get a chance to read, there's all kinds of comments. We've got lots to talk about, so I'm not forgetting people, but is that what you found with your research, Claudio?
I seen his comment. I guess there's been many uses of the swastika, but nobody has ever shown how to derive it. Can I share my screen? Is that possible?
If it work, I don't know, because I don't have control of it, Joe does, but try, because I think Aki, my friend,
let me see.
was able to.
Let me see what happens.
See what happens. Is it sharing?
Can you see that?
No.
Well,
we didn't know it was going to come up in conversation, but you know what, Claudio, if you send
me stream there, it's telling me it's streaming.
Is it? No, it's probably streaming to Joe, because Joe's up in the far left-hand corner. He's not usually there, but he saved it because he's going to play our tones for us when we need them. So what I'll...
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Now it's working.
Yay.
Go ahead, Claudio, because I know Aki did it last week too.
So let's see. You probably won't be able to see I won't be able to see you guys. So let me go back in here, and I'll just go through this really briefly.
Go ahead.
If you look, starting from over here, if you take the 0, okay, and you start counting in the Fibonacci's golden ratio series, we just keep adding the 2 consecutive numbers together.
Okay.
Starting from 0, the all, right, the 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add 0 plus 1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, and you keep going, right? 3 plus 5 is 8, 5 plus 8 is 13. You drop it because there's only 9 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So you just keep going and just keep adding the numbers. And when you wrap them around the circle, okay, it repeats after 60 times.
Mm-hmm.
So found this from a sax player, all right? So at every fifth is a 5. So when you start throwing music on this, all music fits on this. So music is no longer a theory, it's a fact. This is the music wheel. But when I saw this, I got excited because now look at in the Alpha, Aries, Arise, this is where the Phoenix rising happens. I can get into that, physics and metaphysics about that. But you can see the 1011. See that? Over on the opposite side, you get a 9099.
Yes.
I didn't invent these numbers. You just got to add the Fibonacci numbers together. Okay, so that means the omega. And then at the top, 7077. Well, that's 7 colors of the rainbow. That's the as above. That's manifest. That's light. That's the sunlight.
As below, so as above, so below.
So below,
Right,
yeah.
and here you go, 3033. Well, 3 threes, 3 golden ratio triangles makes the star. We are youngsters. And then you go 3033, you get 369. So when you before I jump into any of that, you can see that it makes a swastika.
Yes, it does.
1011, 7077, 90. And it's nowhere else to be found. But now, if you go into, did my screen switch for you guys?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Well, you can see here the 3033 is the 369.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Debbie's 369. Then opposite to that, you'll find the 741. To the left of that, you'll find the 258. And to the right of that, you'll find the 852.
Now, are these numbers Debbie had? Because we didn't discuss this because I wanted to hear all about it, just like everybody else that's listening to this tonight. So those are some of the numbers you got, Debbie?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
100%.
So, yeah. And actually, we have to, like, the numbers of the first 6 frequencies, I didn't create. They had already been in knowledge, known to us. Okay. So
right.
If we go back into it, was the 7th and 8th ones that came into like the completion of it. So I'll let Claudio finish here, because then or to continue sharing here, and then I'll go into that side of things.
Okay.
Right. So as you can see, this 369 is at 18 degree, and that's what the Great Pyramid is. This whole thing also marks the Milky Way, the river of heaven. How can numbers do that? Yeah, it's really beautiful. There's only 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. That marks the cross.
Right.
This is the zodiac. This is the dying on the cross. And when people try to think there's 13 zodiac signs, there can't be. Look at, there's only 12. There's 7 white notes, 5 black notes. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's where you get 3033 is your pentagram, pentastar, which is a 5. And then your 7 white keys. So this is the music. This is everything. This is the universal key that we call it.
Wow.
All right. So everything is there. Not everybody needs to know and understand it, but when we realize that vibrations are important to us, we love music, don't we? And if people think, well, you shouldn't use tones to heal you, well, if it's going to make you feel good like music, then yes, you should use it.
Absolutely.
100%. If you eat something, you're going to get a vibration. If you breathe something, you're going to get a vibration. So why not just use a vibration that's going to heal your body?
I love it.
Yeah. And of course, the solfeggio frequencies have been passed down century after century after century. They were like secrets.
Right.
And so the ancients have shared this with us for over many years. If we think of like Gregorian chants and things like that, the sounds that come out, they're connected, I suppose you would call it excreted from the diaphragm, and they connect with us in a resonance in some way. So stepping in from that, initially King David was first given 4 tones, which he later shared with Solomon. And for a time, these frequencies were thought to be lost because they were no longer used in public. Solomon realized at that time that the vibrations were incomplete, if you like. So he went on to connect and discover the 5th and 6th vibration, sort of honing them, if you like. That's the way. And as a king, and if we think of King Solomon, he would connect using vibrational sound, using the tones to unite himself in his prophetic awareness, I suppose, when he had to deal with difficult situations. Like we could go into prayer or we can go into our meditation. This is how he did it. And if we go to the Bible and we reflect on some of the stories to do with King Solomon, the Bible describes him as praying to God for direction. And whether that was God, as in like Claudio says, we're all God. So he was praying to himself or praying to the universe, as it were, to get that connection. And that was how he created the 6 vibrational tones. But of course, in the Bible, if you go to, I think it's 1 Kings, where it says Solomon's wives turned his heart after other gods and their own national deities. I'm reading this because I don't remember my Bible. To whom Solomon built temples, thus incurring divine anger and retribution in the form of the division of kingdom after Solomon's death. So he himself, although he was connecting with this wisdom, the God within, which we all do, he felt that if he continued to do the fact he was continuing to do it, that those in ego would try and destroy it, which they did. His came from like the purest, the innocent, the naive, if you like, whatever it is. And in his, and we all know him for being wise and fair, and we've only got to go to that one in the Bible where the 2 women come in and say the baby is theirs, and each of them, and he says, okay, I will cut the baby in half and you each get a half to take with you. And the one mother turns and says she can have the baby. And that was when he knew that the true mother would not allow this to happen to her child. And he knew from that. And that's what I'm saying. He was not in ego. He was always wise and fair. And he embraced that this was the wisdom he was given. But sadly, due to fear, power, doctrine, whatever you like to call it, religion per se, he was concerned that these vibrational tones, if they fell into the hands of others, would evaporate from existence, or they would be used. So they were hidden within many wise words he had written. And sadly, over the centuries, they were forgotten. This is what I was told, and I did some research on this as well. So many years later, the Catholic Church, and this is where I'm saying it came out in forms of Gregorian type chants, these tones, these frequencies, these sacred sounds. And there was I think it's the great hymn to St. John the Baptist, which was one of them. And the vibrational chants initiated unique tones, frequencies that communicated because they were being sung in harmony. So the first frequency is liberating guilt and fear on all levels. So if we realize that, and that's the 396. Okay. And then the second frequency, and these 6 that I'm mentioning, you can look them up, you can find them, and it's the information that I've got, I've just expanded upon it. The second frequency, which is 417, expands our consciousness, undoing and facilitating change. So if you think we're being liberated from guilt and fear, and then our consciousness undoes, it allows that change to happen. The third frequency, which is 528, is the miracle DNA repair, and it transforms what will be brought forward. And if we look at what's going on at the moment, there's talk of DNA and it being manipulated, changed, and things like that. But if this frequency that we're going to listen to today repairs and transforms, you see where I'm going with this? Okay. The fourth frequency, which is 639, that allows like us to connect with God, the God within, like Claudio was saying, like this is the internal us connecting inside, and that's through meditation, that's through listening and connecting with spirit, not connected to everything outside, just being inside ourselves. And then the fifth frequency, which is 741, that's where our consciousness expands. We awaken our intuition. We awaken that knowledge that comes from us, from the eternal spirit, so that we can learn from it. Like I always say to anybody, everything is already within us. We've just either lost the key or put it away somewhere and can't remember where we put it. And now we're being given that opportunity to unlock that for ourselves. And the sixth frequency is returning to spiritual order. All right. And so the message I was given in 2012 was that there are 2 more frequencies that complete this. Now, whether there's more, I don't know. I'm not saying there aren't, but there were 2 more frequencies. And because of what we are going through at the moment, I feel, and especially this is what Spirit told me at the beginning of this year, it's like the balance. So it's time when the negative and the positive forces find their own equilibrium. They find their own balance. They're not fighting each other. And if we look at things, because people say, well, you can't have hate and love. And you do have to see those, to experience them, to understand them, so that they can integrate. If we only know love and we don't know hate, or vice versa, we can't integrate them and bring them into balance. Just like the male and the female within us, we have to bring that into balance. The night, the day, the winter, the summer, the negative, the positive. It's not about eradicating or removing one completely. It's bringing them into balance. Like, we all have those times when we're feeling really like that sort of that comes up. I always call it, especially around about meal times, if I haven't eaten, the hangry feeling. So it comes up within us. But then when I feed myself, it balances. I come back into my own equilibrium again. So if we accept it, that's okay, we can get hangry. I think that's it. Hungry. We can accept, okay, I'm really upset about this, or this has affected me in this way. And then to say, okay, now I have understood this. I've stepped into that energy. Now I know what it feels like. And now I can let that balance begin. So it's creating this equilibrium, like interconnecting, and not thinking as we have to be a good person all the time. Well, we can be a good person. And yeah, I might go, oh, I should, I have that moment where I come into it. And maybe that moment stays for a while, but then I go, okay, now I can let it go. So, but we don't want to cover it up. We want to say, okay, I embrace that. I understand it. So hopefully that I've not lost anybody there. I'm sorry.
I wanted to add with that, Debbie, that I have to agree. And then I would love to hear if Claudia wants to add anything too.
Yes.
But I think it's so important, everything you said, including when I work with people, everybody's got to have a label for something, but shadow work. I don't like that term, but people recognize it. But part of what it is, and the message that I've received from Spirit myself to share with those that I work with, is we embrace it all. We embrace it all. We are all those things. We have the potential. All those things. Yet we'll look and say, we don't want to be like those people. Well, guess what? We have the potential to have it all, and we need to embrace it all. Or we find people in the light worker field that say, we need to banish the ego. We need to banish the ego. There's no place for that. Yes, there is a place for it. Whether you've got to make friends with the ego, whether you've got to embrace it all, because I think it's all about balance. I really believe that living on earth here, we have the opposites, if you will, because it's about learning to navigate balance and have harmony. And I see Claudio too. Well, I know he's been so patient here. What do you want to add to that too, Claudio? That was beautifully said, Debbie. Thank you.
Well, we go into the 2 frequencies in a moment, because I don't want to be doing all the talking here, so we can get to that in a moment. So
you guys are absolutely right. I mean, let's define what ego is.
Yes.
Because when we're pure and when we're spirit, there is no more ego, right? The ego is really, if you close your eyes and you picture yourself inside one of those little kiddie pools, right? And if you push your hands down, you can watch the wave go, hit the edge, and come back and hit you.
Yeah.
Well, we're inside underneath a firmament, and everything in here is all vibrations. So the karma, the ego is all coming from past lives, past experiences that are always going to come back and spank you. Depending on how we clean ourselves, that's how strong the ego will be. Because just like 2 magnets opposing each other, they won't go near each other. That's the 2. That's the ego and the spirit.
Yes.
But when you make them the same synchronistic, loving, opposites attract kind of thing, then they'll come together nice and smoothly. I always use the example when I was a few years ago going to visit my son up north in Ontario, Muskoka area, and
Up north. Yeah. Try living in Thunder Bay.
Yeah, okay. Further north. And I was on my way cleansing, spirituality, getting there, everybody, nobody's perfect, and we've all been through those lessons. But it's time to clean up, right? So I was already doing my cleanup. And we're in traffic, and the car slowed down. The traffic slowed us down. We're up doing about 5 kilometers per hour, and then my wheel fell off. At 5 kilometers an hour. Now, if I wasn't good, if I didn't clean my act, that event is in the chart. But if you don't clean up your act, that one might have been a little bit faster to get your attention. But those are just reminders. So those are the vibrations. The ego is from past lives, past karma, past experiences, and so are our strengths, past karma, past lives, past experiences. But to be able to settle them down, knowing, okay, they're there for a reason. So when they present themselves, there's a reason for it that we have to figure out. Yes. Right. The best way, which they've changed to a confession over here and go sit in a black box and talk to some guy behind there, God knows what's going through his mind, and tell him your sins, that's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is that when the ego comes and shows you a picture of something in the past, yeah, I know we're supposed to embrace it and then let it go, but you're really supposed to replay it in your mind. How should that have been played?
Yeah.
You get to use the magnetic eraser and erase that and say, no, spirit, higher self, this is the way I should have done it. Now you make an image of it, locks it in. Now when the ego tries to come back, you go, no, that's not the way I did it. That's the true way of confessing, because you confess how it should have been done, not confess what you did, because every time you think of what you did, you keep giving it strength, and you're just pushing it there to echo back, pushing it there to echo it back. No, you got to make it go away. And the only way to make it go away is to repaint that image.
Yeah.
We speak in babble. That's why we have a hard time understanding each other, because who uses one term versus another term? Yes. That's babble. We used to speak with images. The Egyptian walls are full of images, to which, unfortunately, we got some great brothers and sisters out there doing Egyptology. They have great keys, and we grab their keys, but 95% of them aren't doing it right by saying that those are phonetics. They're not phonetics. We've tried to put phonetics into it so we can speak to each other when we lost our imagination, where we can show each other's imagination. Imagination, and I image is the same word, right? And image, there's I am a, which is I am. So we are the images, but we're not the image in the mirror. So we got to get to one love. So I'm hoping I'm wrapping that up, because that's truly what the ego is. The ego is nothing more than a vibration that keeps bouncing off the firmament back at us. And our job is to part our own waters with using nothing but positive words, positive images, positive gestures. And, when they used to say, just stay positive, they used to get me so not happy, right? I won't use the opposite word, because I always use positive words.
Yeah, I'm not happy. Yeah.
But it's right. But there's truth to it, because once you start living that positive image, I don't let any not positive image enter me anymore. Because all kinds of people are sharing that. Well, what they're doing is they're vibrating it still. And when you're seeing those not positive images, those are tests where you're going to go, no, I want to part those out of my way. I'm going one love. I'm going purity. I'm going to imagine everything beautiful, because we are manifestors. Manifestation is coming so much quicker now. You can order something that's at your door in a day.
Yeah.
So, well, that's because Amazon. No. That's because we're manifesting things faster.
Yeah.
Right? But with manifesting faster comes manifesting not good faster.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And instant karma, because Mama's back. The Phoenix Rising is back. It's in the Bible. It's in the Dendra. It's undisputable. It says the woman clothed with the sun with her foot on the moon. Go look. Every 558 years that happens. There's a sun. There's Eris, which represents Madonna, Isis, Mictecahuatl. Every culture has their story, exact same story of the woman coming back to save her son. And stepping on the moon is one of the nodes of the moon is right there every single time. So she's coming home. So we're like the cat in the hat trying to clean up. We're supposed to be studying, and no, seriously, we're supposed to be studying and cleansing right now. We're like, oh shit, she's coming up. She's coming up the walkway. Clean the house.
Coming home.
Right.
Mama's
they go away
home.
for a weekend. We throw a party, except the party was for 2,000 years. It's that simple. We just.
I like that analogy because you know what? Any age group, especially teenagers, I'm sure, parents have gone away for the weekend, had one heck of a great party. Like you said, ours has been for 2,000 years, and mom's coming home, and your butt is going to get kicked. Well, we're not saying mom is going to kick your butt, but what we're saying is it's time to clean up, get that place cleaned up before mom gets home. That's I don't think you put it any simpler.
Right. And so there's 36 decans around the Dendro Zodiac. So that means we play every one of those. Okay?
Yeah.
Every life we come in and depending, we play every one of those.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go like this and go, yeah, but that person right now is not good. Well, no, we played that part. That's so right now it's weighing of the heart ceremony. We're supposed to have love no matter no.
Of all people knows that we played those roles, right? Right, Debbie, Chris?
Yep.
He's been on my show. We've all played them.
So, and that's where the paranormal comes in. That's where all these, we're living in this ever bouncing field. So when you're seeing things, that's from the past.
Yeah.
Right? There are really good spirits that are not from the past, they're in the now that you guys get channeling from. I don't get a whole lot of that. I got a little bit the other day with his voice. That was really cool. He just said, they're waiting. I'm going, who's waiting? Who's waiting?
Where?
Can you send me a text?
Yes, of course. We can get all those feelings because it's bouncing all over the place. Yeah. It really is.
And I think a lot of it also is trust. We want everything to be tangible. We can touch it, we can taste it, we can feel it. And, I always say to people that spirit is about trust.
It is.
And I can just go back in my own story since October of 2020 and November. And, it's like spirit said just out of the blue, okay, you're going back to Mazatlan, Mexico. I'm like, okay. But I haven't got the money to do that. No, you're going to go back. And the flight was cheaper. A friend connected and the accommodation we wanted was cheaper. I'm like, okay, so we're going. All right, we did it. And then, of course, in February, things changed as far as our Canadian government said, you've got to go home. Otherwise, you'll be stuck there. And I had this chat with Spirit and they said, no, you're staying. I'm like, okay, we were supposed to be staying here till April and then going back, but obviously we're not. And so we stayed, and a lot of people said, oh, you're crazy, you're stupid, you should have gone back and all the rest of it. So this is where trust comes into play. And then our visa in June here, our visitor's visa expired. So it's like, now what do we do? We're illegal aliens here, basically, in Mexico. We can't go back. And then again, it was trust. And we were hearing these rumors of the Mexican government doing this and that. And then all of a sudden, it came out and we could apply for our temporary residency here.
And what did I tell you when you went for, because when you're going to get to the part that you went to, and I said to Debbie, all this didn't fall into place the way it did for it not to work out, right?
Exactly, because at the time when we were, the visa had expired, it was like, oh my gosh, what will happen kind of thing, because there was no way we could get back. And of course, the US was not allowing Canadians to travel through the US to get back to Canada, and Canada had its borders closed. So it was like, we're stuck here. Not that we want to go back, but we are stuck here. And then, as I say, they changed everything in Mexico and said, okay, you can apply for temporary residency, which gives us 4 years here.
Yeah, but you only had a couple
4
days.
years.
Like this just opened up magically. Like it
everything, like the coming out, because I was quite acceptance that we were not going anywhere, because usually we're on tour during the year and then we take 6 months off and then come over to Mexico, into Mazatlan in Mexico. But of course we hadn't toured and we hadn't made any money and all of those kind of things, but it all happened. That was the trust part. So now, and of course then I'm going, okay, so we had financially allotted up to the end of April, and now we're going to stay here because we can't get back. And that's when I said to Spirit, you need to manifest us. We need to manifest a place to stay for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then conversations went on, and I heard a couple of things. And somebody said to me, have you considered house sitting? I'm like, no. And then reached out to a friend just because I'd heard of somebody that was looking for a house sitter, but I couldn't find the person. And she said, I didn't know you were into that. Would you like to sit in my house? And that's where I am. This is my backdrop here. This beautiful house we're sitting in and looking after for the summer. And so, and this is my next step. I said to Spirit, okay, are we supposed to stay in Mazatlan? And they're like, trust. So each part of this.
But sometimes you got to admit, being human, all of us, when we communicate with Spirit and we hear trust, and because we've got time and we need sometimes three things, sometimes it gets frustrating, but we know well enough that yes, when Spirit says trust, because it does. And I always tell people, don't ever try and figure it out, because I'm telling you, they are the masters of creativity.
Oh, absolutely.
The way things will fall into place, and this person will come in, and that person, and this person. It's just amazing.
And the same with the selling our home and everything in Canada. Like when I found the realtor, and you and I have had this conversation because we were just not gelling with realtors, and it was a third realtor. Actually, I didn't realize that was third realtor. And when we signed up, I said, well, by the way, Spirit has said that it'll be sold by the middle of August. And she's just like signing it on at the beginning of August. And she's like, okay. So of course
probably.
Well, I brought her into my world because I said she had to understand it. Otherwise it wouldn't work, kind of thing. So anyway, our place is sold, and now everything's being sold in it, and we're letting go of everything. Mm-hmm. And it is such a cathartic, it's such a cathartic experience. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that, but this is where we need to listen here in our hearts. Okay, this is where we need to listen to what we're being told. Like even some of the different things, how I found that realtor, because I had approached, and then I woke up in the morning and I heard a person's name. I'm like, okay. And I messaged that person. I said, okay, I'm from the world of weird and wonderful. I'm just going to ask you this. I'm being told by Spirit, of a realtor that will be able to. And she went, oh my God, I'm not really into this, but I was talking to some friends of mine that are realtors, and we were talking about you being in Mexico, and they want to come to Mexico, and we just had this conversation. We both laughed. So that is why we had to explain to the realtor, this is why she was chosen. Like big responsibility. And this is, at the moment, we don't know where we're going to be from October onwards. And it's like, okay, we're going to find something. And maybe we're supposed to stay here, or maybe go somewhere else, or whatever. I'm just, it's a big thing, trust, okay? And I've had this with Spirit thus far, because I left the UK and came to Canada in 1997. And I can remember somebody at that time saying to me, so Canada is your home? And I said, for now. And then quickly looked up to Spirit and went, you've got to be kidding me. I've just sold up everything and I'm moving to Canada, and you say, for now? And then I let it go. So is this the next transition? Is Mexico my home forever? For now. But I haven't heard that from Spirit, so I don't know. I've not asked.
But what? Because I want to get to those two other tones.
Okay, all right, yes.
No, but one thing I wanted to add, I think it was you, Mario, that said this, and I know I say it many, many times too, when I'm working with students, is all we have is now. Mm-hmm. And that word's already in the past. Because we look forward to the future. And I don't know if part of this lesson being a nurse with working, I said, I've been so blessed hundreds of times being there at the beginning of life, working in the NICU. And then a bulk of my work was working out in the community when I hurt my back. But it was being there, working through, if you will, people that had terminal illnesses, and being there with people that died at home. And so all this stuff that we're talking about materialism, about all these things, about love, about, so many people get to that point when they have a terminal illness and the end is near, and then they really see what really is important. And this is also what I talk about, and I teach a lot of my students, or if I'm, go live, is regrets, because so many people have so many regrets. Like even some of the things you talked about, you said with karma and with the ego, and things bouncing back and changing the way it should look, the way it should have been, versus living in that lower frequency of what happened and reliving it. You see so many people that go through, well, I thought if I saved enough money, or when I hit a certain age that this was going to happen, or only when I did this. And they said, but really, and I'm not telling people what to do, I'm sharing what people have shared over the years, is the main things that came out was, I should have spent more time with my family. I should have spent more time telling the people I love that I love them, how much they mean to me. I should have spent more time following my dreams. It was all these things that we as human beings keep thinking we do in spirit go on forever. But this physical shell, if you will, doesn't go on forever. Then I think that is so important that we're talking about all this, about navigating towards true love, not service to self, but service to others. This is because we really are a part of each other. And that's why I love these tones that we brought up when we sort of talked about doing this show together, because just the first 6 you've shared, Debbie, are incredible. Yeah. So let's hear about those other 2.
All right. So the 7th frequency is the 189, and that's the universal cosmic connection. So that's from heaven to earth. So it's an infrared sound connectively creating a link to that which we do not yet know.
Okay.
All right. For many, they've sensed its presence and even heard it, like I say, like a breeze that touches us, or we hear a resonance, but we just don't quite connect with it. Okay, and the 8th frequency, which is 52 hertz, it's that which rebalances the universe, allowing for ascension. And that was when, I'm like, okay, it's obviously now we need to do it. So all of this is done on a cellular level. And if you think of it like threads interconnecting, interweaving to create one, like we can sometimes hear this sound, and when we get to this, this pinging sound that we can hear within our ears, sometimes it like somebody said it's like tinnitus or tinnitus. I never know how it's pronounced. So that's we've been hearing it, or we, sometimes are like, oh, I can hear like a bell or something like that. Just this little bell going on in the background, and we're already hearing it. So many have already heard it. So the thing is, we've been in conflict thousands of years, millions of years, collectively, individually. And we're nearing the end of that imbalance. That's what I'm saying. Last year was the bringing into balance, bringing into beingness. And we all have this God-given vibrations that we can listen to. So the potential to transform, to transcend, to create, recreate, all of those things, it resides within each of us. Like we don't have to look outside, as Claudia said. It's there in us. We just have this expectation that there must be something outside. So what I asked Claudio to do is to take each tone, and we did them individually for 1 minute. And then the 9th minute, so it's 9 minutes of listening to it, will be the combination of all of them playing together. And I will this is why we said you will need earbuds or headset or whatever, because some of the tones are very, very low or quiet, and you'll just feel a resonance. And that's why having earbuds in, you'll feel it. Okay, you'll feel that resonance. So anything you want to add to that, Claudio?
No, that's you nailed it. You nailed it 100%. And yeah, it's just that, and the lower frequency ones, the 52 and the 189, because of electronics, especially the 52 hertz, it just doesn't want to. And because it's such a low one, the speakers, computer speakers, are really small, so they can't push air as much. although it still will be vibrating, so you still will get. I would think you still get the benefit based on the quality of the speakers. But the whole point is the intention is there, and that's what this is all about, is intentions. So if somebody's sharing a vibration and sharing it with you with intention, no different than blessing food, you're putting good intentions on it. So it does carry that with it.
So should we ask Joe to play them? Because when we do, what would we like people to do? If they've got headphones, listen, just be open to receiving this gift, if you will. And then you guys, we're going to talk about how to access the replay, how to get a hold of these, the whole bit, but just being open to hearing this play, right?
Absolutely. So it's 1 minute for each frequency, and then 1 minute for all the frequencies playing together. So it's 9 minutes in total. So I would invite everyone to participate in this and just sit back. If you're driving, I would suggest you pull over, please, because it may take you to a place of other things. Like we weren't quite sure what it's supposed to do for us. It's about bringing back the balance into each of us. So I'm hopeful that that's something everybody openly invites into themselves.
I just texted Joe to ask him to play it. I've just texted Joe to ask him to play it. So we'll just chat until we hear that it's ready to start. He'll be there for just a minute. And then, like you said, are you there, Joe?
I can hear feedback.
I think it is. Let's see if it's going to start to play.
I'm going to mute my video just to make sure we get more bandwidth so it comes through clear, because I'm not sure how it's going to stream.
Yeah, he's there.
Once it starts.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks, Joe, so much for playing that. I appreciate it. And that was the last one. No, we had some comments in YouTube. People were feeling things. I'm going to say very quickly, I shared that my heart rate went up huge, and I could literally feel those vibrations vibrating from my heart chakra up. But I wanted to share because there were some questions. Inner Peace Healing said,
Yeah.
is it just me, or is anyone experiencing localized headache right above my right eye? Is that normal? They said it's not bad pain, it's just noticeable.
So is anybody else experiencing that at all? Because here's the thing, and this is where I always say when we vibrationally hear a sound, we all get from it something for us personally. And I feel that if this was happening there, then there may be something that needed to shift within that person. And so with your heart, it was opening up things. So it's going to work its way through the chakras because it's got no other option than to do that. Is that correct, isn't it, Claudio? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, because pain means a chakra, an atom isn't vibrating properly, right? So if the vibration is doing that to you, there's two things. One, slow it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let it keep coming. But at the same time, why is that there, right? So it's just a sign. It's either a healing sign or something that needs to change. It can be only one of those two things. So,
Yes.
For that person, that means if it hit them there, then that's showing them something. It's a sign. It's no different than all of a sudden. In medical astrology, what happens is usually the moon passing by that sign gives you a little something. Now it's a hint that you get to watch that portion of that sign to see how long, and it's been very successful for us. We can then see the peak and then see when it goes away. So that is something that says, oh, there's a sign. You don't run to the doctor or get a surgery. I mean, it's not about that, right? It's really about what happened there, why did that happen? And then you can look into medical astrology to try to help get why did that happen? Mm-hmm. Did the sound do it? Or was it supposed to happen anyway? Mm-hmm. Right.
And of course, our apologies to everyone. The sound levels on it is something that Claudio was really, it's very difficult to try and get them all in one level. And that's something that if there's somebody within the group that can do this for us, we'd love that. Because at the moment, this is the first time it's ever been played, shared. And so we wanted to do this, as I said. Spirit was saying it needs to be before the 25th. So I'm assuming that what we've listened to and how we've listened to it, there's going to be other things that are happening. I love that. Inner Peace says, healing. Yes, it's the same pain I get when reading tarot and when I bring home a new crystal. So yes, the healing, certain tones and frequencies, as I explained, all of them have a different, we're working through the frequencies, and each of the additional frequencies is about resetting our DNA and our consciousness as well. So, yeah.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
now, and again, the puppy barking was extra. That was either baby girl or Joe's new little girl, Lola. Sorry about that. Just adds to
I can hear water and barking, and I'm like, neither of those are in there. So,
no.
and this is just something that we wanted to
We
share
were
it.
so lucky it played because
Yeah,
that's
I
what we
know.
did,
Thank you,
guys.
Joe. Thank you,
And
Joe.
Joe, thank God he's so creative, because I was like, oh my God, like, do I need to call them and say we need to reschedule? And I'm thinking we can't reschedule. It needs to play tonight. So I'm going in my head, Spirit, please figure this out. So
Yeah,
he was
work it
able,
out,
thank
guys.
God to Joe, because he was able to figure this out at the last
Yeah,
minute.
thank you.
But what I was going to say is, okay, so people hear this. First of all, if you just tune into the tones, you're probably going to be going, what the heck is this? But how often do people listen to this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Because you guys, are you going to make these recordings available? Was that your plan eventually, Debbie? Or
we'd like to, we truly would. But as I said, we've got to, as Claudia said, we need somebody, maybe somebody that can create these same tones using a singing bowl or something like that. So if anybody is there, reach out to Lauralee and then come through us, because we're looking for somebody to collaborate to create this into a level so that, the last tone is not too loud, the first tone is not too loud, and the last tone is not audible, kind of thing, that we want to try and create it. So at the moment, it's only in its raw state.
So they can listen here, but I want to add just one thing. Michelle Pratt's here from Australia. She says, I'm here. Welcome. And then Inner Peace Healing said, haha, I thought the water was part of it. I enjoyed it. The water was. I thought the water was. Anyways, it's the puppy part that wasn't the part.
Yeah.
Right. So if people, so right now, this is where they can access it. And just so you guys know, I'll let you know this. I've said it before, that this will always be available on YouTube. Okay. On our channel. I always post a replay on anywhere I have posted this, on my professional and personal social media profile. So we're talking LinkedIn, 2 on Instagram, 2 on Twitter, Facebook. I'll probably even try and put a short little blip up on TikTok. Like, I promote it everywhere, so you'll find it. But the thing is, in the meantime, and we just talked about manifesting and how quickly we manifest, and I'm feeling somebody is going to hear this and contact one of us 3 and let us know they can help to put it into a little bit different form. But so if people are listening to this part particularly, how many times do you think they should listen to it? Or, some people might listen to it on loop for hours, is what I'm saying. So let's give them some parameters.
Well, I don't think it's going to do any harm to anybody listening to it constantly, but do you want to? What I would suggest is, like tonight, we've listened to it, or today, wherever you are, when we sleep upon something, what happens is our whole vibration goes into that. So it'll go into the memory of what we've experienced tonight, whether it's the words, the sounds, the frequencies, the information. And then we're going to start reconnecting with our DNA for it. Listen to it once a day if you feel that it would be of assistance to you. I always say, like, I've got a chakra balancing CD that I have, that when I'm feeling my chakras are out of balance, I just go and listen to it. Okay, so Claudio, your input, please.
Can I stop you 1 second? I want to give a shout out to Jeannie Spencer. She's joining us from over in the UK. So it's kind of late over there. Never mind in Australia. So thank you, everybody that's joining us from around the world.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Claudio.
Claudio, so.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's like listening to a song that puts you in a great mood versus listening to a song that doesn't. So because everybody's chart is on that different music wheel that I showed you, so everybody's vibration will be different. So, and then if, like she said, you can play just a certain tone that goes, oh my God, that one there, it's right there. Okay, so that's you, right? They may not all be for you. They may, just one maybe all of them. Maybe the scattered one at the end doesn't make somebody feel good at all, but actually might vibrate somebody into health because they maybe their chakras are all over the mat and they just need a jolt. So it all depends. It all really does depend. So it's about listening to it, trying them, and see which one makes you feel really good. and then make a note of that vibration, because then in future, when we keep expanding on this, because we want to learn your DNA chart is going to match these sounds, and just by listening, we're thinking that if we just put your voice, record your voice, see the pattern of your voice, we're going to be able to take a structure there to see what's not in tune, and then say, no, you need these vibrations. So the ancients used to do all this. They used to do it. They did. And they used to use your natal chart, because that's your vibration. That's who you are. That's your DNA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love that. In a piece, just shamanic drum beats and cello music. Yes. And all instruments create their own vibration. Even just tapping on the table.
Well, Michelle
tapping
Pratt
on our heart.
I was going to say, Michelle Pratt asked, is that why heavy metal isn't loved by everyone?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's a great idea. But the thing is, and this is definitely something we have forgotten, but if you meditate, and it's not just for people in the esoteric spirituality world, CEOs do it, pro athletes do it. And I'll get it, depending on the source that you read, 15 minutes of meditation is akin to, I've read anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half of sleep.
Yes.
So, but my whole point is, I think it's a great idea, if even putting it on low tone, if you can, while you're sleeping, that's when we're most wide open. That's when our body heals. I really believe that medically, from a nurse perspective, if you will, never mind spiritual. And you guys are right. Like, some people will need certain parts and some won't. But what I just got from Spirit, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, is even if you do play the most of it, because like where I was going with this was, a lot of us have forgotten to listen to our bodies, because when we're quiet and we ask a question, that your body will always answer. You'll either hear yes and no, whatever it is, right? But if you listen to it, and this is what I'll do sometimes when I'm out, is there's a lot of discord going on. There's a lot of angry people around, whatever it may be. People don't want to wait in line, people that are fed up. So lots of times what I will do is the Reiki symbol for love or for healing. Yes. And I'll just trace it on my hand and like this. And then what happens is, those that are meant to, you guys know this, but other people may not listening, those that are meant to receive it. Those that aren't, and the person's higher self even that maybe does need it, has the right to say no thank you. So what it does, and I believe this, is that energy just kind of goes up into the ethers. It's still there, but whoever needs it, it will reach that person.
Yes.
Kind of like with these tones, right? Whatever you need,
it'll be received. And that's why I said at the beginning, I invite you to be open to receive it. I can't tell you. Nobody can tell you.
Yes.
Because amazingly enough, when we're told we have to do something, how do we respond?
Overwhelmed.
I want to do it. Like, we've only got to go to a small child and say, you have to clean your room, or you've got to do something. As soon as we're told, whereas with my son, I used rewards. Like, he would know there was a reward attached to something he would do there. He didn't have pocket money. That was how he earned his pocket money.
I sometimes have my youngest think it's his idea.
Yeah, of course.
But
and any women out there, sorry, Claudio, many women out there will say that's exactly what they'll do with their better half, and they'll make it their idea, and then all of a sudden it happens, kind of thing. But yes, each of us know with that. And there is no right, there's no wrong. And as I said, when we were beginning on this journey, it's going to adjust, adapt, change, shift, move, whatever it is, for each of us in different ways. It's not, I always say it's like one size fits all, but each of us will get from it what we need. It's a bit like saying to somebody when they eat strawberry ice cream or something like that, everybody is eating the same thing, but they're all getting a different experience from it. So that's hopefully that's my view anyway.
What did you want to add, Claudio? Debbie and I love to talk here.
No, it's all good. No, you guys are doing awesome.
Debbie and I can talk for hours. We've done it.
Well, good. I just like to. So where's all this going, right? Why are all these vibrations? Why is all so? It is the fall of Babylon, and fall of Babylon is about losing control. losing control of the self. I mean, the materialistic body, the ego. So all these vibrations are meant to come. I mean, you can wait for spirit to send you the vibrations, or you can try yourself to start connecting and cleansing yourself. And by these vibrations, obviously she's got something that is important because it was downloaded to her. So those that'll be attracted to her are meant to come because they've sat there and they've manifested they want to heal, and they all of a sudden they get attracted to this show or Debbie or whatever, and then next thing you know, those are the heal. That's because it's of attraction. So the people that are supposed to come, and they will heal. It's and interestingly enough, it is in the chart too. What? Yes. It's bizarre.
To talk about more about astrology. I haven't had really anybody on about astrology. Well, I got to have Debbie back on. I've already talked to her about having her and Chris on. Yeah, every time I have a guest on or meet somebody, it's always like, you got to come back on because this goes by way too fast.
Well, when Claudio and I first connected, he's like, okay, so let's just look at your chart here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I got to relook at your chart now. I learned so much more. I know. Because we're relearning what was the ancients, how they did it.
Yes.
Okay. The way Western astrologers do it, it's different. It really, I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but it's different. The pure reason why we know we have all the right settings, which is very easy to share, it's equal house, it's Lahiri, it's sidereal, okay, and there's only 12 houses. When you set it like that, then you will see, and you'll have been able to predict all the past pandemics, which you can now. You can go and see them because the big guys, that Isis, which is Eris, Pluto, they cross cusps, and then there's pandemics because they're here to clean your ass. They're here to vibrate you. They're here to vibrate you back to being because we're partying. And they're coming to say,
Mama's coming home.
Right. So it really, really is that. So our lives are so much the Russian dolls.
Yes.
It's yes, we're here in material, but now we're going to the spirit world, and it behaves the same way. So we got to let go of the materialistic in order to ascend, or else you just keep coming back around the wheel. But every time you come back now, you're going to be born into a family who is more awake, and so will you. And the vibrations, you'll still have some karmic attachments from what you didn't clean up in past life, but that's the way it will go. So you might say, well, what the heck? Well, wait a minute. I'm just telling you, you're infinite. You are infinite, but it's how much do you want to get off the wheel?
Yeah. And do you want to just be that little hamster that keeps on doing that round and
That's
round
what was
and
going
round?
through my mind, Debbie.
A little hamster on the wheel. Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere. And
well, that's the
you may lose
Ouroboros, right?
that 50 pounds, but you're not getting anywhere.
That's the Ouroboros.
Michelle, sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, but she asked, I think it's a good question. She said, are we layers like an onion?
Yes.
Are we what?
Layers like an onion.
Yeah, peel back each one.
100%, just like the Russian dolls. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
That's why the mountains, the mountains were the trees. The mountains were the trees. I mean, you got Hangman. Go look at Hangman 1158. I think he is. Go look at him. There's videos of trees versus mountains, and they're exactly the same. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
We are just.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So yes, she's exactly right. We are layers of an onion. We expand and then we shrink. We expand and then we shrink. That's what keeps going around the wheel, go on the wheel. So,
and if you think about it, every time anybody that's peeled an onion, oh my gosh, sometimes it can make you cry. But then when you eat the sweetness of a fried onion, oh my God.
I don't like onions, but you're right.
Oh,
a fried onion. Now we have another question. Sorry, guys, I didn't speak over you, but it's a good question. Inner Peace Healing asked, so are us Aquarians going to have an easier time in September?
That is $1 million question, because I think from the perspective that I'm seeing it, yes, we will if we do the work. And that's our work. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
First of all, we're not just our sun sign.
No.
Right. I mean, and most people don't realize that if they're doing the tropical system, that's not who you are. The tropical is the natal position of the earth, which is the house system. And there's so many different, there's just like the Bible, there's so many different settings. And it's like, well, whatever works for you. No, that's because they just didn't, they've lost their way with it. So learning from a whole bunch of people, we're just key collectors. We're not, we're just collecting keys from people and asking for signs and asking for guidance. And it was gifted to us. So there's so many people, and we thank in every video. I mean, Santos Bonacci, God bless him. I mean, learned so much from him. But he stopped doing a lot of his astrology because he's using tropical. So God bless him. And I still watch his videos. I've done 2 shows with him. He's it's anyway, regardless, the point is you're not just your sun sign. You got to make sure you're doing the right astrology, and it's not clear cut and dry, because if you're a good person, when that energy comes by you, it lifts you. It doesn't do the opposite. Most of the times we go looking for it when we're lost or when we have something that is not, we're in dis-ease, we're not at ease. So the thing is that there's so many different things you got to look for. That's why we do it for free, because it's a long process. And how can we say somebody that money can have it, but somebody without can't? Well, then now I'm not the weighing of the heart ceremony. I'm not winning that one, because it's university now. One love, iti, right? We're in universe, iti. One love, one verse. So for the Aquarians, it depends what else is in your chart. It really, really does. It's not the same for everybody. That's why everybody's just looking at their sun sign and saying, will this, not. It really, really depends on your chart, what's in it. So for the Aquarians, that means that you're one that is in a baptismal sign, if you're truly an Aquarian. So that means if you've already done all the process of cleansing, right? Because John the Baptist, age of Aquarius, baptizo water, aquarius means river of etheric waters, right? So if you look at the dendra, there's a whole bunch of people chained with their hands behind their back. That's us, because we're chained to the body, and we're starting to be baptized with the etheric waters, right? So that's what Aquarius means. So if you're an Aquarian, sun sign in Aquarius, right, and nothing else is in there that needs to be fixed, right, then yeah, you'll have an easier time for sure. But are you following the 42 spiritual laws of Isis? It's so simple. Go read them.
Show on that, Claudio.
It's so simple. Read them. It's really simple. It just means you're pure. You're good. No matter what happens, you're just good. It's like the 10 Commandments. We rewrote the 10 Commandments because those are not positive, suggestive words. So we rewrote it in a positive light. Got that in Epiphany while I was on an IV. So, right, we're here to cleanse. We're here to learn the cleansing process, and we must cleanse. The beauty part is we don't have any choice, because even the prophet mongers, which we played that part before, even them, they have to cleanse, or they're going to get their instant karma. So I pray for them, because it can not be good and pretty for them. So that great conjunction of Pluto-Saturn that happened in January 12th, 2020 is 40 months to the Phoenix Rising. 40 months. Where's that 40 number come? 40 days of fasting? 40 months. We only got 19 months left to get it right. What happens? I don't know. But you got to cleanse. And the closer we get to that, the more the instant karma comes. I mean, look how much people have grown spiritually in the last 2-3 years. It's crazy. It's exponential. Well, it's going to keep getting more and more exponential.
And what I love about this, Spirit told us last year and this year, especially, the truth will be out. People in our own community, our world community, our globe, whatever, are going to be, the true colors are going to be seen. We're going to see that. We're going to have those shock horrors and that kind of thing going on in us, but they already let us know about this. They already said, hey, this is what's going to be happening.
Right.
Now you know this ahead of time. You can not get all upset. You won't get caught in the emotion, but we're human. And we do get caught in that emotion. That's what we're here to experience. If we were pure spirit, that essence of us, we would just be in all love all the time, and we wouldn't go, okay, ouch, I just banged the hammer on my finger and now it really hurts. We would just go, oh, look at my finger, it's swollen. Oh, and it's just dropped off. Because we need to experience, and that is partly pain and it's pleasure and everything else in between. And in the world at the moment, when we're coming into September, like August was, about thankfulness, the seeds that we've planted, happening, harvesting us, ready to transform. So that's a harvest of ourselves. And September is, everything is going to be very changing, chop, 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 very, very quick, very quick. And sometimes we're going to almost get caught up in that pain and that frustration and the game playing that will be appearing more in our world. And we've got to just step back and, as I say, take the breath. And in October, it's going to be a very transformational time. Very. And this will be the time when we collect, and there'll be that confirmation of what we've put into the game. And when I say the game, what we put into ourselves on all levels. And November and December, it's going to be more planning for not just next year, but for the generations that come ahead of us and those that have gone, that were behind us. And we've already seen that with some of the things that are coming up in the world that are coming to the fore. It's like, it's a forgiveness, the letting go, the closing down and opening up, all in the same breath. Because if we don't reach this within our own vibration, like going into our own beingness, then we're not going to achieve it for the generations to come. Our generations to come, our incarnations to come. And that's something that if we understand that and realize that we're, the one thing that I say to people at the moment, because they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on in the world? And I say, you chose to be here at this exact time. You chose to be here. You took it, the badge of honor, or duty, or whatever it was. We all chose to be here to do whatever it is we are supposed to do. And each of us have that inwardly knowingness.
I just was going to add very quickly, because we're almost out of time.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yes.
What I got from Spirit while you were both speaking too is, it's also about what messages are you leaving on the wall during this time period for your future self as well, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Well done. Yes.
So let's leave it at that. Will you please come back? Well, I've got a new friend.
I would love to.
Claudio. Thank you, Debbie, for that. I know I'll be talking to Debbie. I talk to Debbie several times a day. But I want people to know, where can they find you? Because we've had a lot of conversation, guys. I'm sorry. Usually check the chat more, but we had really big things to talk about. Really appreciate all your feedback. So Debbie, you want to go first, and I'll let Claudio go, and then I'll tell people.
Sure. Go to my website, vibrational-energy.com. vibrational-energy.com.
And your decks. Don't forget to tell them about your decks.
Oh yeah, well, everything can be found there. Like, I know we've got very limited time. My decks, meditations, newsletter, or everything is there. Just go there, and explore and play. And there's free stuff there as well. So that's me.
Awesome. Claudio, where can they find you and find out more about what you talked about, the work that you're doing? You've got an amazing YouTube channel too.
I'm on Facebook as my name, Claudio Silvaggi, and on YouTube, same thing, Claudio Silvaggi, and I go by the name Iyoutome, Iyoutome. It has a nice sound to it, a nice ring. And when I was going through my cleanse from starting 8 years ago, I looked at my mother in heaven. And I said, I need a name, and I said, help me, mother. And help me in Italian says Aiutami.
Oh,
Ayu to me. Right.
Yeah.
So I went with that. And then it's you to me, right? We're just helping
Yes.
each other out. Right.
Right. I
So-
love it. I actually understood completely now, because I kept bugging Claudio for a biopic because I usually use them. And I understood where you were coming from, but from this whole conversation, even from how you came up with the name, Claudio, very clever. And
love it.
Debbie, as soon as she heard your message, because I did share it, she goes, "Oh, I love what you just said there." Awesome. I'm so glad that you two were on here tonight. I know people
Thank
you.
that extraordinary conversation. They really enjoy what we were talking about. We will have the replays, guys. It'll be up here, like I mentioned. Please make sure to share it with whomever you feel may be touched or need to hear this themselves. We want this to go far and wide. One thing I'm going to put out there is please make sure you have a listen on Wednesday, August 25th, because Debbie, that's how this all started. That date in particular was very important.
Yes. Tune into you. And I mean to you. Sit and meditate, or go out in the country, put your feet in water, lay on the grass, whatever, lay on your bed, and just tune in and see what messages you get for you.
Absolutely.
I feel there's a significance to the 25th of August for each of us.
Exactly. The last thing I'm going to add, guys, is please, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can reach out to me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. If you ever want to book a reading, healing session, mentoring sessions, I have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal. And we cross over quite a bit with our sister group, the Angel Rocker Tribe, where all things are energetic there, spirituality, many of the things we talked about tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Debbie and Claudio. Thank you so much for everything you've shared, all your knowledge. And I send you all so much love and light wherever you may be. Just as a reminder, next week, Augie Nost is coming back, but we finally been able to nail her down. We're having Nori Love on too, his co-host.
Oh, good.
So we're going to have a interesting, God knows where conversation is going to go next week, folks. So thank you to everybody here. Love you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.